What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today I want to talk about this Jets team improving and finding a way to win on this Victory Monday. The New York Jets found a way to beat the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday 27-24, and they did so without their best offensive player in Garrett Wilson, and with guys like Eric Watts and Jasir Taylor playing meaningful snaps on the defense. You have people upset about the Jets win because it drops them from the 4th pick to the 7th pick in the draft. There's still 5 weeks left for that to change, by the way. And honestly, fuck your tank. This is an evaluation year. It's important for a first-year coach and GM to learn who they are building around on this team. Like, what guys are you okay with keeping around in their roles or different roles, and what do you need to add to this roster? And over the last few weeks, we've seen guys like John Mechie and A.D. Mitchell, two newcomers to the wide receiver room, who have shown that they are keepers and should be here next year. You've seen Lofi has quietly hit his stride as a 22-year-old playing left tackle in the NFL. Shocking, maybe not a bust after 14 starts in his NFL career. Armand Membu had some rookie moments this past week, but is playing at an extremely high level as a young offensive tackle in this league as a rookie. A.Z. Thomas, Malachi Moore, two guys from this draft class that look like decent pieces for you as 3rd and 4th round picks. Juwan Briggs, who you traded next to nothing for, has been great and has shown that he is absolutely someone you want to keep around. The Jets are winning games and doing it on the backs of their young players right now. Guys, think you know football? Then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day to payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players with more stats than any other daily fantasy app. Just choose 2 or more from your favorite players from pregame or live. Pick more or less from their predicted stats, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money if your picks win. Use my promo code O'Leary, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. New offer, there's a free $20 no deposit required promo. Terms and conditions apply. It looks like the Jets hired the next version of Mike Westhoff. Does Aaron Glenn get credit for the Chris Banjo hire? Their special teams unit has been elite. The kicker has 1 miss on the season, and it was a 50-plus yarder in the rain yesterday. They found Austin McNamara on the scrap heap, and he's a stud, been one of the best punters in the NFL. Isaiah Williams, after a tough start to his Jets tenure, has turned it around and been a great returner. Kene Nwanu, whenever he's healthy and is actually on the field, is a great returner. Their coverage unit is great. Quantas Stiggers has turned into a special teams ace. And if you're winning games off the back of that unit, that's fine. It's good to have a good special teams unit. That matters to teams. Ask the Chargers when they had the number 1 offense and number 1 defense if it mattered to them that year because they missed the playoffs because of their special teams unit. It does. It does. And I know right now it's hard to see the light through the trees or through the forest, but having a good special teams unit matters. And you don't have to have the number 1 pick in order to get a good player. Yes, the draft is a crapshoot, and the higher you pick, the higher chance you have of landing a good player. But we saw the Jets just miss at the number 2 pick a couple of years ago. They took Zach Wilson, number 2 overall. Didn't work out. Garrett Wilson was a 10th overall pick. Lofi 11th. Armand Membu 7th. And that's just recent Jets history. And those are 3 building block pieces that the Jets were able to find in the back half of the top 10 or, right at 11th overall. Does that not matter? Like, as a general manager, you have to be able to find talent no matter where you're picking in the draft. We've seen countless times quarterbacks who weren't the first quarterback taken end up being the best of the draft class. Look around in the division. You have Drake May went 3rd overall. He wasn't the first quarterback taken. Josh Allen was the 4th quarterback taken. Patrick Mahomes was the 2nd quarterback taken in his draft class. 3rd quarterback even. No. Did he go before Watson? Doesn't matter. 2nd or 3rd. He wasn't the first. Mitch Trubisky went first in that draft. And sure, there's the Joe Burrows, who was the first quarterback taken that worked out. The Andrew Lucks, the Peyton Mannings. I get that. But it's not always that way, and there's different ways you could go about trying to find your quarterback. The Jets are 3-2 in their last 5 games. After starting 0-5, they're 3-4 in the 7 games they played since then. Still a losing record. I'm not throwing a parade over a 3-4 run, but has this team not looked significantly different in the last 7 games than they did in their first 5? It's a big difference. I notice it. Don't you want to see improvement from your head coach and the team, not just the coaching staff, but the team just in general as the year goes on and what's an evaluation year? I mean, look at it. Since the Dallas game where they dropped to 0-5, look at their losses. They have a 1-score loss, a 2-point loss to the Denver Broncos. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC. You have a 1-score loss to the 7-6 Panthers, who just beat the Rams, arguably the best team in the NFC. Clearly, the Panthers are better than what we thought they would be this year. And the 2 games they also lost, the 2 other games they lost in this stretch, you were in until the 4th quarter against the teams like the Patriots and the Ravens, who have significantly better quarterbacks than you and more talented rosters. A lot of weird stuff has happened to the Jets, especially early in the season. You had the fluky fumble against Pittsburgh that lost them that game, the Xavier Gibson fumble game, the blown lead against the Bucs after that blocked field goal that was returned for a touchdown. The Braylon Allen fumble against Miami, that game changes if the Jets punch it in. Losing to Denver because they didn't make a quarterback change at the half or going into the 4th quarter. I'm not saying you take all those games and flip it. That's probably unfair. But if you just take 2 of those, you're looking at the Jets at 5-7 and a much more normal looking football team. And no one's talking about the tank. But you're 3-9. And you know what? I get it. There's always going to be fans who want to see the team lose to get the highest draft point. But you all saw the Lions model, right? The one that the Jets are clearly trying to replicate with the Aaron Glenn hire. They were bad through the first half of the year before they finally turned it around in the second half to finish their seasons. In their first 2 years, honestly, both in 2021 and 2022. You have Miami and Jacksonville and New Orleans as your next 3 games. There's some winnable games here, which is what I was saying, but even before this game against Atlanta, and they won at home. You know, I know Miami's playing much better football now. They've looked better than they looked like before they got their first win against the Jets in week 4. But I mean, is that not a winnable game for you at home? A warm weather team coming up to play in the elements in the Northeast in December. Jacksonville's a Jekyll and Hyde team. I think Jacksonville's better. I wouldn't expect the Jets to win that game, but no one's looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars and going, "Oh my God, they have no chance." New Orleans, they stink too. New Orleans is horrendous. They might win a couple more games. And if after going 0-7, they win 2 more games down the stretch here and they finish their year 5-5 after a 0-7 start, does that not mean anything to you? That's not something where you go, okay, this is a coach who's going to be here next year. And yeah, it looked ugly and it didn't start all that great. But you're a young team, one of the youngest teams in the NFL, and you went 5-5 over your last 10 games. Can you build off of some of that momentum and add some pieces with the copious amounts of both draft case and draft capital and cap space that you have? If they go 5-12, they'd finish with the same record they had last year with the veteran heavy team. Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Famer, Devontae Adams, Hassan Reddick, Tyron Smith, and on and on and on it goes. Doesn't matter that you got started 0-7 and then you finished with the same record you did a year ago with significantly less name talent on your roster. Coaching job doesn't get any credit for that. And look, if they were to lose out after starting 2-9 or whatever it was to this year, in year 1 of a head coach, are you feeling great about Aaron Glenn going into year 2? Because he was going to be here no matter what. So with knowing your coach is going to be here no matter what, does the improvement not matter to you? The light switch just doesn't magically turn on because you landed a top 2 pick. You draft one guy in the top 2 of the draft. And then you go, okay, now it's time to win, guys. We're going to flip the light switch on. We got to start trying. And the coaching staff has to figure it out. That's not how sports work. You can't be mad at Aaron Glenn saying that he sucks and you want him to be fired after starting 0-5 and then be mad because they're starting to win games because the coaching staff and the team has improved as the year goes on. That's just stupid. It's incredibly naive to think that way. And again, I've said this, if the Jets were to lose games, clearly not the worst thing to happen because yes, your draft picks does improve, but you look at that as the silver lining, not the goal. The goal isn't to lose games. But if you are in a year where it's an evaluation year and it's like, you know what, we don't have it. We're limited at the quarterback, which, hello, the Jets clearly are. They're starting Tyrod Taylor right now, and they've had Justin Fields play quarterback for a majority of their year. Most weeks, the Jets are not going to have the better quarterback in the matchups, but they're finding ways to win football games because they have an elite special teams unit, and some of their young guys are stepping up and making plays. That matters to me. So for that, I say screw the tank. And let's see what happens through the remaining 5 games of the season. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe here if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.